Hey, what is up guys, my name is Nico and welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to show you how to make this incredible pizza with all the utensils you already have at home. No extra baking stone, baking steel, nothing like this. Let's get straight to it. Making pizza dough is really simple and you only need a handful of ingredients. You need some type 00 flour. This is just flour with a high protein content. You could also use some bread flour if you can't find it. Some cold water, some sea salt, and very little yeast. You could also use some fresh yeast, just take about 3 times as much. The exact amounts are all in the description down below. The first thing you want to do is add the water to your bowl. Make sure the water is really cold. If you use warm water, the fermentation process of the yeast will be accelerated, which we don't want. Next, add in your sea salt and stir it well until it's fully dissolved. After that, add about 20% of the flour to the bowl and mix it well until you have a pancake batter-like consistency. We do this so we don't directly mix yeast and salt together, because this may kill the yeast or at least slow it down. Once that's done, add in the yeast. Next you want to add in your remaining flour in 2 equal batches. Add half of the flour, mix it in well until it becomes somewhat homogeneous, and then repeat this process with the other half. After a minute or so, you will see that the mix is starting to form a sticky mass. This is the sign that you want to drop the dough mass on your working surface. Clean out your bowl thoroughly so you don't waste anything, and try to incorporate all the flour into the dough. After a minute or so, you will see that the dough has already started to come together a little bit. Now it's time to knead the dough for about 5 minutes. A bench scraper can be a really helpful tool to scrape down some of the sticky dough from the working surface. After 5 minutes of kneading, your dough should look something like this. As you can see, the dough doesn't pass the window test yet, which is why we cover it up with our mixing bowl or a damp towel and let it rest for about 10 minutes. This helps the gluten development massively. Once the time is up, you can immediately see and feel that the dough is a lot stronger and softer and not that sticky anymore. As you can see, the dough nearly passed the window test, but I'm not satisfied with the gluten development yet, which is why we are going to repeat this process one more time, which means we are going to knead it 5 more minutes, form it into a ball one more time, cover it up and let it rest for another 10 minutes. Now our dough is ready. It turned out absolutely fantastic. It's smooth and beautiful. Now let's make some pizza dough balls. To do this, divide the dough into 4 equal sized pieces. If you want, you can also use a scale and measure them out to about 210 grams each. There are many different ways to form dough balls. My favorite technique is to tuck the dough under itself in my hands or to roll it on the working surface like you can see here. Just keep in mind that the top of the dough ball should always remain on top, so the ball has a smooth surface, which makes it easier to work with later. The Italians mostly do a technique that's similar to making mozzarella, but for home use this is probably a little overkill. Once all 4 of them are finished, grab an ordinary baking tray and some flour. Dust the tray with a little bit of flour and put the dough balls inside. Make sure to space them evenly and then sprinkle some more flour on top of them. Next you want to seal this container airtight so the dough doesn't dry out. I'm using some plastic wrap for this. Now that this is done, we are going to let this dough rest for about 24 hours at about 20 to 22 degrees Celsius. In case you live in a very hot climate, keep the dough at room temperature until the dough has nearly doubled in size and then put it into your refrigerator so it doesn't grow any further. 24 hours have passed and this is what our dough looks like. Absolutely incredible if you ask me. Now you want to prepare your toppings. The classic Italian tomato sauce is very simple to make. Pour 1 can of good quality crushed tomatoes in a bowl, or use some whole peeled tomatoes and crush them yourself, and then add some salt. If your tomatoes are a little sour, I would suggest to add a tiny bit of sugar as well. Mix it all up and your sauce is done. Traditionally, you want to use mozzarella made from cow's milk. I also like to use mozzarella di bufala on my pizza, but I always put it on after the pizza is cooked. Now cut your regular cow's milk mozzarella into thin strips and set it aside for later. Of course, we also need some basil, the Italian national herb, which certainly belongs on every pizza in my opinion. Optionally, you can also grate some fresh parmesan to put on your pizza later. I'm using a pre-grated one, please don't hate me for this. Last but not least, we also need some good quality extra virgin olive oil. Now that the prep work is done, you want to preheat your oven to the maximum temperature and select the grill mode. While the oven is preheating, we can start making the first pizza. Sprinkle a handful of flour on your working surface and remove the plastic wrap from your dough tray. Put some flour on each side of one dough ball and start to loosen it from the tray with the help of a spatula. If you don't have one of these, you could also use a regular spatula. Take your time and loosen the ball from each side so it stays round. Once it doesn't stick anymore, quickly slide under it with the spatula, remove it from the tray and put it into the flour bed. Now quickly seal the tray back up and take out a non-stick pan. Flip your dough around in the flour a couple of times and then start to stretch it out by pushing from the middle to the outside. Flip, turn it 90 degrees, stretch it out some more and repeat this process a couple of times. Once it's flat enough, sprinkle some flour onto your pan, lay the dough on top of it and stretch it out some more. Now that this is done, we can head over to the stove. Place the pan on a medium-high heat, for me that's a 7 out of 9, and let it come up to temperature until you can see that the dough is starting to get cooked. After 2 to 3 minutes it should look something like this and you can add your tomato sauce and cheese to the pizza. Don't forget to occasionally check the bottom of your pizza to make sure it doesn't burn. Once the bottom is nearly how you like it, drizzle some olive oil over your pizza and then transfer it onto a baking tray with some tongs. Put the tray into your preheated oven on the highest rack and let the pizza cook for about 4 to 5 minutes. Once the crust reaches a light brown color, take the pizza out of the oven and transfer it to a cutting board. To finish it, sprinkle over some Parmesan cheese, add some basil leaves and some pieces of your mozzarella di bufala and your pizza is done. So now, quick taste test at the end guys. Just look at this incredible pizza. Can you see it? It's really beautiful and also the bottom is really perfect for a home oven. I'm really impressed. And yeah, let's see how it tastes. Honestly, I would not believe that this was made in a home oven. It's absolutely delicious, guys. I mean, it's pizza, who doesn't love pizza? And now you can make it in your home oven too. Also, the crust turned out pretty nicely for a home oven. Looks really good. Honestly, I'm really happy with this technique. I mean, look how perfect this pizza turned out and also the bottom is really amazing. And everyone can do it. You don't need any special equipment or anything like this. Just what you probably already have at home. No extra things needed. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like, comment down below and consider subscribing. It's free and it would really help me out. Thank you so much for watching and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.